morning, everyone. I'm here this morning trying to finish off the binding of my Ukrainian quilt. Well, it's not a Ukrainian quilt, it's a quilt with the Ukrainian colors, which I'm going to be giving away to someone, but gonna raise some money for Ukraine in the process. I should have probably taken a longer thread, but how is everyone's Sunday going? Yep, too short a thread, not worth the trouble. Doing a quilter's knot. So the quilt that you see on the right side of the screen, that's the finished quilt top, but of course this is the quilt. I have finished quilting it, and now I'm just binding it up. It's almost there. Getting this started is always the hard part, but no, I don't want it to cut out there. My needles are so bent now, but for the binding part they have actually bent at the right angle, so I don't really mind it. Let's put a double stitch here. A little back stitch in the beginning does not hurt. Getting some fluff in here. That's better. Now the one thing that I do, I kind of cheat. I do glue based my binding, so I'm doing no show facing, so that's the front of the quilt here, and it does not have any edge or anything there. The quilt just goes all the way to the edge, and then this is the strip that's added at the back, and I have glue basted this down, means it's machine stitched on this side, but this end of it I'm stitching it by hand. But before stitching it by hand, I have glue basted it down so it stays in place. That way I'm not, struggling and moving it or anything. It just kind of stays in place. And I'm just gonna have my morning coffee and see how much progress I make on this. This is the last edge that's left. So I'm hoping to finish it today or by tomorrow. I doubt it'll be done today. I have quite a few other things on my agenda for today. Work in the clay studio is super busy, and I thought this is probably the only time I can sit and have my morning coffee from one of my older mugs. And instead of catching up on news and stuff this morning, I thought might as well make this quilt. Just finishing it up. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. The stitching is almost invisible. You can barely see anything. I don't know even if in close up you can see. Let me turn on this light too. Hopefully that's better. But yeah, the stitching is hardly visible, which is good. And I just pulled the thread out of the needle. Not the first time that has happened. It's a pretty decent sized quilt, so hand binding this is taking a while. But you see, because I've glue basted it in place, it goes pretty quick. seam here, so it's a little bit tight there, but nothing a sharp needle can't handle. After using this needle for a while, you can see it does have a significant bend in it, but it's working just fine. Getting to the point where I should probably tie a knot and get new thread. It's always so tempting to get, a longer piece of thread so you don't have to do this tying business again and again. But I've realized that it just results in tangles and a lot of pulling and everything. It's just easier to have a shorter length, and it actually goes faster than you think. So I'm gonna tie a knot here. I'm gonna go through that loop twice. And then I pass the needle through the binding and pull it out again. And then put my needle where the thread came out, do like 3 wraps of the thread around the needle at the base, and I have a knot like on the surface right there. So I pull out. It might be hard to see what I'm doing, it's so tiny, but I pass the needle back into that hole to bury that knot in. And once I pulled out the needle, I give it a little tuck, and so there's a knot here, there's a knot in the center, and it gets buried in there. So, and then I like to use this scissor, which has a little bit of a curve here, and so you can see that curve in there. This helps me to cut the thread right at the surface without cutting my fabric in any way. So that's extra thread there. Need some more. So I take like, almost elbow to arm length thread. My needle is so bent. There. Just do a quilter's knot. So not at the end. If it's too long of a thread at the end, I'll just clip off some. Okay, now to find where I had stopped. The stitches are so tiny, that's nice. So I'm just going to go back into the binding. uh, so this is where I need to start again. So I'm going to go actually further ahead because there's a gap there. I can go in there and I'm going to come out a few stitches in between the previous stitches where I ended. So that side just ends up getting, you know, and I'll just do a double stitch there with a knot. So I like to get that security of two knots, one at the end of the thread and one at the beginning of the binding here. So, and then we can continue as usual, and that knot gets buried in. Don't know if this is like the most efficient way of doing it or a cleaner way of doing it. I'm sure there are better ways out there. This is just what I have picked up. I haven't been quilting for very long. It's just been, I would say, a year or so. Less, a year maybe. I did do one quilt in 2020. No, I started it in 2020. I finished it in 2021. So I'm fairly new to quilting. But in 2021 and this year, I finished quite a few quilts. Hi, Christy. Christy says beautiful. Thank you so much. So the picture on the right side shows the finished quilt top, and just finishing off the binding on this one now. And when I'm done, hopefully in the next few days, I am going to wash this quilt once I finished this binding, and then it's going to get washed. And after it's washed, I'm going to be uh, setting up something for the people of Ukraine, the refugees. It will most likely be an honor system. I was thinking of a raffle, and I got talking with my friend Nancy from Schmutzerella Yarns, and she was telling me that a raffle, collecting money for raffles, is kind of a complicated thing once it comes to taxes and stuff, which is what I was thinking too, because it would be like if I create a listing on my website to collect money for the raffle, then it kind of gets added into my income, and then plus I am donating 100% of the proceeds, but what's happening is I'm also incurring all kinds of merchant fees and credit card processing fees and all of that, which I could deduct from the total donation amount. But you know there are many organizations you can just donate your entire money and it goes there, um, without this unnecessary, like, why give less money, um, you know out. So I was like, okay, so that's not making much sense. And plus, she said she has a feeling that raffles are actually illegal in Washington state. I haven't researched on it. I don't know why, but there must be a reason for it. So I'm like, okay, let me just not take any chances and just do an honor system where people just send me an email if they had made a donation to whichever organize they choose. And then based on all the emails I get, I'm going to do all the just do a lucky draw from all those emails, a random drawing, and that person will get this quilt. So that way, uh, people would have made their donations, and they would have gone to the right organizations without any hassles of collecting money and donating them here and stuff. Christy says sweet. Yes, it's a small way of me trying to do something. um, I hope there's enough number of donations, which would be nice. um, War is kind of just really bad. Uh, Many people might not know this, but um, I was actually born in Kuwait, and we lived in Kuwait for 16 years. And well, I lived in Kuwait for 16 years, and then the Gulf War happened, and we moved to India. But we were fortunate in that sense because we were already in India on vacation, so it was our summer vacation time. So we were already in India when the war started, and Iraq had attacked Kuwait at that time. And so we were just listening to all of this on the news, and but we had left all our stuff behind. We Because we were on vacation, we didn't know we were not going back for a while. And then settling in India, good thing we had extended family and stuff, but uh, it was it was a different time for sure. And then plus it's like a lot of our friends and families who were back in Kuwait, they were still trying to make their way out of the country. So it was really tough on those people. And most of them did land up in, the flights were coming in from uh, neighboring countries into Mumbai, and that's where we were. So we had received several people at the airport, and they had to go to their destination in India. India is huge, and got to hear a lot of stories firsthand as to what happened, how they escaped, and the hassles they had to go through and stuff. And it was still kind of, means it was tough on them. But again, being Indians in, the Middle Eastern country, they were at least recognizable as, oh, you're not from here, so maybe they were a little bit more lenient towards them. But like, to the local people, things can be really tough. It's tough for everyone, regardless. There's no more tough or less tough. So, and people are fleeing the country. When you flee, you just take your necessary belongings and stuff. So, you'll end up losing quite a lot. So, raising this money, if can help these organizations provide for them, that's good. And if I can encourage people to donate by giving away this quilt, then that's good too. anyone has any other ideas on how more money could be collected for the refugees in Ukraine, feel free to suggest. You can put it in the comments down below. I can see the colors are not like truly Ukrainian or anything. It has some bright yellows and blues in it, but it has a whole bunch of other colors too. And the back of the quilt I've used batiks is, a different kind of light blue. But I also kind of wanted to use what I had rather than, go shopping and get all the exact colors and spend more money. It's like I said, no, I have so much fabric lying around, so I'm like, let's try to make this happen without fussing over, you know, tiny details. And the people who are watching, what do you see in the quilt? You can see the quilt top out there. What do you see in it? Then I'll tell you what I see in it. Though it wasn't, whatever I see in it is not the intention with which I started making it. Then I have, once the thread gets small, I find it harder to keep my thread in the needle. If anyone has any tricks for that, let me know, because I'll end up unthreading my needle way too many times. I think I'm at that point. Well, let's just do maybe 1 2 more stitches. Always so greedy, trying to get more stitches in. Nah, let's stop. And in the loop, going once, going twice, and I've unthreaded it again. So that creates a good knot there. go down here and bury that needle in, just making sure. No, that's not good. Got that in there, and then 3 turns. Got a knot at the base there, and then pass it through there again. And there. 2 knots buried in. And again, using my curved scissor out here to cut that thread really close. All buried in, cannot see it anywhere. So I'm more than halfway there. Wow. So I guess it takes me like around half an hour to do half a side. This is the shorter side. But I think I need to take a break because I have other stuff to get done. I need mugs to get made. For people who have been waiting for your mugs, thank you for your patience. There's not been a big delay or anything. It's just there has been a lot of stuff queuing up, and I am still working on it and getting stuff done as soon as I can. There is currently a kiln firing going on right now. Most of them are the new Argyle mugs, and I need to make so many more to fulfill orders. And the sooner I get an order in queue, the sooner you can get your mug. I don't know when I'll have a shop update with, stuff fulfilling orders and having extras. That it might take a while. I need at least 2 more firings of just fulfilling our orders. If your orders are in, it's actually faster to get it in than waiting for a shop update, because it's going to be a while till I have a shop update. There are some things on my website. The 16-ounce mugs I'm totally sold out of. I don't think I might have 1 or 2 mugs available, but yeah, go ahead, have a look, and thank you for supporting me. And do follow me on Instagram when I announce that the quilt is ready, and I'm going to start the whole, you know, um, lucky draw for raising money for Ukraine. So if you keep in tune with that, you will know when it happens, and you can enter in to win this quilt. All right. Thank you so much.